Hello and welcome to On the Wrist. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Timex American Documents. This is a watch that's made in America and celebrates Timex 165th anniversary. Let's get into it. Before we get started, a quick wristwatch check. Today I'm wearing my Seiko Prospex. This is a watch I find myself wearing a lot. Today I have it on my rubber dive strap. There's a review video of that, which there'll be a link in the description as well as popping up on top. This is a really fun watch, great for any occasion, and very comfortable to wear on the strap. But let's get back to the Timex. So this watch is the commemorative piece for the 165th anniversary of Timex, which was originally founded in 1854 in Waterbury, Connecticut. Before we get to the watch, let's go over some of the additional features that come with it. So first off, there's this piece of paper that gives you some information on the watch, but also on the back side has a code for a unique digital printout of some photographs that Brian, I'm going to mispronounce this last name, Chopin took as he took a trip across America, taking photos of what embodied America. So it's part of the project is that they're trying to capture what the essence of American watchmaking is. Now, as I mentioned, almost everything in this watch is made and sourced in America, which the source part is very interesting. So this nice box here is cherry wood that's cut down and manufactured in the United States. So it flips open, it's a magnetic seal. And here we have the watch. Now let me bring that closer for you. Let's go over some of the technical specs and then we'll get into what really makes this watch special. So you'll see the specs pull up on the side there. It has a 41mm diameter, 10mm in height, has 20mm lugs, it's 30 meters of water resistance, and it's a quartz movement. Now it is Swiss quartz. It is a Ronda 6004.D, which has an accuracy of -10 plus 20 seconds a month. But that's not what makes this watch interesting, because admittedly, at first pass, it's kind of a very plain watch. It's a dress watch, it has a second subdial, it has a really nice mirror finish to the outer edge here, and the rest of it is a nice brushed steel. But what makes this watch special is right below the Timex thing. You can see that Timex, boldly underneath it, made in America, Swiss movement. So as I mentioned, this watch is made in America and sourced in America. All of the components, everything from the strap to the wood of the box, everything except for the movement is made and sourced in America. So the sourced part is what really surprised me. Getting all the steel materials and all the other components, including the Gorilla Glass crystal, really is a big feat. Now they did have to add the concession Swiss movement there because there is no real movement manufacturer in the United States, so that was one concession. But the fact that it's made and sourced in America is kind of astounding. There's not really any American watch manufacturers at this price point. There are a couple boutique ones, but those are going to run you, $1,500 plus at least. So a couple of the fine details they've added to this watch to celebrate the Timex American heritage. So as I mentioned, Timex was founded in Waterbury, Connecticut in 1854. You can see reference to that with the W 1854 there. Now, aside from this very clean, minimalist dial with these very sharp hands that come to a very fine point, the real interesting part about this watch comes when you flip it over to the back. And you see this very interesting Waterbury brass stamped case back. Now, Waterbury, Connecticut is called the Brass City, so that's why they use that brass material. So on the back here you see this large continental United States there with a bunch of information. Waterbury watchmakers established 1854, water resistance, North American, document number 1. I have my fingers crossed that they'll make another one, hopefully automatic, but we'll get to that in a moment. And on the crown, you see there, also in brass, is a nice TX logo. a nice addition to the front. Now, if you live in Hawaii or Alaska, don't worry, you're still featured on the strap. So again, this strap is made from cattle from the United States and made in America. It's made by SB Tanning, Red Wing. I believe it's out of Montana. So this case back with this leather strap really is I would say the interesting part about this watch. This is what drew me to this watch, is this really unique case back, strap, and more importantly, that it is made and sourced in America, which just, I keep saying that, but that's because it's very surprising, and especially at the price point. So MSRP of this watch is $495. This is where the problems for me start. I really like this watch and what it represents, because to me it represents a step back towards American watchmaking, which I really hope that more manufacturers do. But the price point feels really high, and that might be because this is a limited edition, only so many were made. It's made and sourced in America, so that definitely adds a lot of cost. But $495 for a Ronda quartz movement, that I don't feel great about. I really would have liked to see this as an automatic. I think they could have done it in the same price point, but they did not. And that's actually the biggest complaint you see online about this, is it's not automatic. It's a quartz watch. And the crystal, which I forgot to mention earlier, is their Gorilla Glass, they're calling it. So it's not a sapphire crystal. That was something they could not get sourced in the US. I've had no problems with scratching. I think it's probably pretty similar to the Seiko material. But it's, again, not sapphire. So for $495, you're getting a quartz movement, no sapphire, not even on a bracelet, just on a leather strap. So from a value perspective, this watch is not a good value, bang for buck, straight on the materials. The reason why you would buy this watch is because you're interested in American watchmaking. This made in America is really what drew me to this watch. It's something that it's a little understated of a watch, but it's something that I would happily talk to anyone about. And I do feel the fact that it's sourced in America, made in America, is something I want to support. I want to see more watchmakers doing it, and I'm very hopeful Timex will release American Documents too, but have it be an automatic movement. Some things I wish they had done. They had, as I mentioned before, there's this, you can download a large printout from the photo shoot they did. I kind of wish they hadn't spent money on doing that, as well as this, this wood case is nice, but you really only use the case a couple times. And honestly, for me, one of these pieces here comes right off if I open the case too hard. So instead of making this wooden case, I almost would have rather them have a cardboard case and taken whatever value or whatever cost it cost them to make this case and put it into getting an automatic movement in the watch. But that being said, let's take a look at some shots on the wrist. Here we have it on my 7¼ inch wrist at 41 millimeters in diameter. It fits very nicely, 10 millimeters thick, sits very close to the wrist, will fit under any cuff. A nice fit, a very comfortable dress watch. That mirror polish looks really nice, and the understated dial really works well with the dress watch aesthetic. But you do get a little flash of that brass there to add a little pop. One thing, just checking the time, it looks like it's time to like and subscribe. If you like these videos, I would really appreciate if you would hit the like and subscribe button. It really helps encourage me to make more videos, and seeing which videos get the most views helps me decide what kind of content I want to make. So please like and subscribe to support the channel. Now, one more thing I want to mention about this before we take a look at some shots outside is the strap. Very comfortable, but I feel like it's made for giants. I'm on the third from the last hole here with my 7¼ inch wrist, where there's a bunch of holes all the way out to the end for someone who must have an 8 inch wrist or above. This this strap might be an issue for someone with like a 6 or 6¼ inch wrist. So I'd say be very careful if you have a smaller wrist. You may need to replace this strap, which would be unfortunate because the American-made strap is part of the fun. Alright, here we have it in natural light. It is starting to be a little bit duskier, so it's not super bright, but you can get a pretty good feel for the dial. This is nice sharp hands, very legible dial, very clean, very crisp, thin on the wrist. Strap, very comfortable. Again, pretty well proportioned for my wrist. Some final thoughts on this watch. This watch represents something very interesting. A watch made in America and sourced in America that plays on Timex's historical importance in American watchmaking history. It's a great throwback to watch manufacturing in America, and it's something that I really hope continues, and as an idea I really support and I'm really interested in. But I think the execution could have been a little better, whether it be from a price, even if they had increased the cost, I would have paid a little more to have an automatic movement, or if they had shaved on some of the bells and whistles, being the case as well as the photo download, to put a little more value into the watch. I would have really liked to see that. Overall, I wouldn't recommend this watch for someone who's just looking for the best value for their money, because this doesn't have sapphire crystal, it's just a quartz watch. But I would recommend it to someone who's interested in American watchmaking and interested in supporting companies choosing to manufacture and bring watchmaking back to the United States. Let me know in the comments below if you agree or if you have other thoughts. Thank you for watching. This has been On the Wrist.